One of the number one questions I get asked from people moving here from out of state is how many Mormons are there in Idaho Falls? And will I feel like an outsider? Will my kids make friends because I've heard some things? Well, in this video, we're going to talk about how many Mormons are even actually here in Eastern Idaho, in Idaho in general, what that looks like culturally and for you and your family. You ready? Let's get started. What's up guys? My name is Annika Wilder. I'm a local realtor here in the Eastern Idaho area. If you're thinking about moving here and you have more questions that I haven't addressed in these videos, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, and I'll be happy to help. And if you're new to my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you don't miss a beat when I put out a new video every single week. Okay, Mormons. Let's talk about Mormons. Talking about religion is one of those topics you're not supposed to talk about, right? Religion, politics, these things I'm all very open about. I am an open book and I will answer your questions very honestly and openly. And so I love it when people ask because these are legitimate concerns based off of things that they've heard or read on the internet. And so I want to clear some things up and be completely honest as well. If you're familiar with Salt Lake City, Utah, or Utah in general, this is where a lot of the Mormon population has come from. Mormons started in the middle of the country and they migrated over to Utah a long time ago, hundreds of years ago. And because they migrated to Utah, they kind of migrated up north. We are just north of Utah here in Idaho. So yes, Eastern Idaho has a lot of Mormons, also known as the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or LDS for short. Idaho Falls used to be 75% members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. However, over the years, as people have moved here from other states and migrated here, that number has actually decreased. The most recent number is around 59–60%. However, not everybody is a practicing member of the church. All of the state of Idaho has about 25% of Mormons. Now, with that said, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has a lot of ways of tracking who's Mormon and who's not Mormon. That doesn't mean that they are all practicing, doesn't mean they all go to church, it doesn't mean they all believe in the exact same stuff. I would say it's more like 25% of Idaho Falls is probably a practicing member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And what that looks like is they're probably not going to shop on Sunday. They'll probably say no to going out on Sunday, although there are a lot of Mormons that still do that out here. They probably won't drink coffee. In fact, soda is kind of their vice. A lot of Diet Coke drinkers out here in Idaho Falls. In fact, when you come drive, you're gonna see soda shop after soda shop. We've got the Soda Mix, Fixology, and a bunch of other soda shops as well. So yes, they might have a little bit of different views. They might not be available on Sunday. They might not participate in alcohol or coffee. And it used to be where coffee shops weren't really as available, but now there are. We've got a Dutch Bros, we've got a Starbucks, we've got local coffee shops that have local beans. So we do have plenty of coffee to go around. So I want to ease your concerns now. We have alcohol in our grocery stores, which is very different than in Utah, that it is against the law to have certain alcohols in Salt Lake City. We don't have that law here. So let's talk a little bit more about the pros of having Mormon neighbors. When you move in, you'll probably have somebody introduce themselves. They're gonna come on over with some fresh baked bread or cookies or something, offer to help you move. The LDS culture is a very service-oriented culture. And so some people think that that's an amazing thing and that they love that that's being taught. They also have great youth programs, so a lot of youth are off the streets and they have places to go and good leaders that help youth. Which also brings me to other churches out here. We have evangelical, Protestant, Catholic, non-denominational, Baptist, Seventh-day Adventist. We've got several different types of Christian churches. We don't have a lot of other religions that are not Christian. I think there are some, but there's just not a lot of diversity in regards to religion if you're not Christian in general. All right, let's talk about your kids. I know this is the number one reason why people even ask, is they say, well, I don't care what you believe, I don't care what my neighbors believe, but I am concerned that my kids will feel like an outsider, they won't be invited to play, etc. Now, this is a story, a very common story I have heard, especially when I was in Utah. It never has ever happened to me at all, ever. However, there is stories in certain places in the world where members of the church, of the LDS church, will tell their kids not to play with other kids because they're not Mormon. I don't see that anymore. I really don't. I've never had that experience. My kids have never had that experience. A lot of people here are much more welcoming and understanding and accepting than other parts that I have lived. And so I want to ease your concern that I can't promise that it will never happen, but I think it happens at a very individual level. It's not going to happen at a larger scale, like an entire church population, an entire neighborhood is going to ostracize you or your children. I think if it happens, it'll be by a very individually based situation. For the most part, everybody plays with everybody out here. Everybody's outside, everybody loves freedom. We've got a lot of the same beliefs in all other aspects, being conservative and Christian and family oriented. And so I really don't see a problem where Mormons are not being as welcoming. Now, I know this is a hot topic and I might get some backlash for even talking about it because I could be totally wrong. There might be somebody who has a totally different experience. I am not a practicing Mormon, and so I have kind of the insight of both sides. I can see what it's like to be on the inside, and I can see what it's like being on the outside, and I still believe that Idaho Falls is one of the most amazing places if you are a family and you're looking for inclusive play with children. Hey guys, there's a few things that I forgot to mention in this video that I realized I forgot when editing this video, and I injured my back because I'm over the age of 30, and so I'm not gonna go to the office and do any fancy lighting. I just want to throw this in real quick. But there are some terms in the Mormon culture or the LDS church that I wanted to mention so that you could be familiar with them before you come. But then also there was a part about how it could affect your kids that I forgot. So when kids get to a certain age, like 8, they're baptized into the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. When boys get to the age of 12, they get the priesthood, where then they can pass out the bread and the water in the worship service and have like these duties. It's kind of like their rite of passage, and they are part of the young men's program. And then for the same thing for young women, when they turn 12, they enter the young women's instead of like the little kid program called primary. So the reason why I'm bringing this up and the reason why it's significant is because if all of the little girls in the neighborhood, or a lot of them, are all going to young women's on Wednesday nights at 7 o'clock, and they're inviting your little girl who's 12, 13, all the way up to 18, that might be why. You're more than welcome to attend those activities. In fact, they love to invite all people. And it's not always religious. They do a lot of service projects. They do girls camp in the summer. There's a lot of fun that they do. Sometimes they combine the men and the women activities. So if you're wanting to feel more included, I would never shy away if Mormons would invite your teenage kids to activities, because a lot of the time it can be a lot of fun. If you're worried about them not fitting in, they do a good job about including people regardless of belief, especially at girls camp. And so I just wanted to mention that sometimes if you don't want them associated with any kind of church or the Mormon church specifically, then yeah, they might feel left out because a lot of their friends in the neighborhood or girls or boys that they go to school with are, if they are Mormon, they're attending these Mormon activities. And so that would be entirely up to you, because they are almost always welcome to come to all those activities. That was my experience when I was in the church. We always invited other people. I'm still invited, even though I'm not in the church. I get invited to activities all the time, and sometimes we go, because who doesn't like a chili cook-off or a costume contest during Halloween or just a neighborhood party? So there are different things that I forgot to mention, and I wanted to make sure I threw it in the video, and I apologize for the casualness of this part, but I hope this was helpful. And again, if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out. Oh, and again, the terms that I was talking about. So the terms that you might hear all the time are wards. Wards are basically the boundaries of where people go to church. So if you are in a certain neighborhood, the majority of the neighborhood might be in a certain ward, and then they are asked to attend a certain church And that's just because it's a lay ministry, and so people could pick and choose like their favorite bishops, and which is like a preacher or pastor. And if everybody always picked their favorite, then this building over here might be overpacked, and then this building might have nobody. And so it's a very organized system, the way they do it, based off of where you live. And so you're assigned which church building you go to, and that's called a ward. A stake is multiple wards all together, and so it kind of goes up the leadership. A bishop is over a ward, then you have a stake president who is over multiple wards, and then it goes up with like area 70 and apostles, and then all the way up to the prophet. So I just want to make sure that you knew some of that terminology. I don't know if that would help, but I figured if you were interested in learning about this stuff and being prepared before you came, I thought that that might be helpful. Now, if you want to go a little bit deeper and you have follow-up questions, like I said, my name is Annika. Give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, and I'll be happy to go even further with this conversation or anything else. We can go further in politics and ethnicities and whatever you want to ask, because I know that knowing before you come to Idaho is very important to you, and I want to make sure that I'm that resource. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.